kidding, Courtney. Thanks very much. Canadian Blood Services announcing some changes to their blood donation policy yesterday that will allow gay men in Canada to donate blood so long as they have not had sex with another man in the last 5 years. Laura Keegan joining us from HIV Edmonton. What was your first response, your gut reaction to this press release yesterday?
Well, I think what I heard first was the ban has been lifted. So, yay.
That's what I heard first, too. I saw the headline. I thought, oh, my gosh,
yes.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then it said some regulations still apply.
Exactly. And then I read the fine print of the regulations, and I just said, oh, like it was, again, it was a good news, bad news, and we seem to get this a lot in the HIV world where people take one step, but it's just not far enough.
Okay, well, let's head back to when this ban essentially was first put in place, when gay men in Canada were told that they could not donate blood. What prompted that?
Well, HIV infections and hepatitis infections in the blood. And that was a decision that was made in 1986, which I think was the right decision, because they didn't know a lot about the disease. They didn't understand the testing, how it was impacting people. And it was killing hundreds of thousands of people. So I think it was a wise decision at the time. Science has come leaps and bounds. We're not... HIV is a much more manageable virus. We understand how it works. And the science has come leaps and bounds and understand the screening, how to screen for it. They understand those aspects. And so it's not a risk anymore.
Now, screening will ultimately, or I should say ideally, detect any issues with blood that could not therefore be used in a blood donor capacity. But we're not just talking about gay men here, are we? I've noticed in the reading that I've done over the last day or so a big difference. Some people will say there's gay men and there's MSM, in other words, men who have sex with men, and they're not always the same community.
No. There's a lot of men who are engaging with sex with men, but who don't identify as a gay man. So that might be some people that are engaging in activities on weekends and going home to their wives or spouses or partners. But it's also people who are just they're not ready to disclose that part of their life. And so that puts them in a bit of a different category.
Yet they can still donate blood and answer truthfully or somewhat truthfully on a questionnaire.
Depending, yeah. I guess the question does ask if as a male, have you had sex with a man? And so if you have, if you were answering honestly, you would say no. Or yes.
Is HIV and AIDS still a significant issue within the gay community, according to your expertise and what you see?
The HIV infection in men who have sex with men is a risk that is high. However, we are seeing women increase this year by 4% in regards to HIV new infections in women. You know, we're seeing there's no face to HIV. It doesn't discriminate at all.
I was blown away to hear you say that 1 in 4 people affected by HIV, in other words, 1 in 4 people that are HIV positive actually don't know that they are.
Yeah, 25% of the people living with HIV right now do not know that they're infected.
And this is not just the gay community?
No. That's across the board.
So I heard you use the word discrimination when you were referencing this policy on behalf of Canadian Blood Services. You believe that it is still, even with these changes, you would say it is still a discriminatory policy?
Absolutely. I think it's taking a stance against an entire population of people versus behavior. So behavior put people at risk, not what they're doing, not their sexual orientation, not a certain population. Just like being from Africa isn't a high risk, it does not a high risk. It's the behaviors that have gone along with that put people at risk. Certainly
something I know that have a lot of Canadians talking. Some of the responses we've been receiving, many of you didn't even realize this policy was in place in the first place, and that's shocking to a number of people. Laura Keegan, thank you for joining us on behalf of HIV Edmonton. We want you now to take over this conversation. Let us know how you feel about this policy, the changes that are put in place. Are they enough? Wherever you stand on this, your issue becomes our issue. It's important to us. We want your opinions to make it to our airwaves. To do that, you got to share with us. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and you can connect with BT. Send us an email on our website as well. We'll be right back.